Kia ora atu and welcome. Hey, it's QBE Stadium here in Te Raki Paewhenua on Auckland's North Shore, and it's a dusty old day in the city of Sails today, as you can see. It's blustery, it's rainy, perfect for rugby league, and we're bringing you a double header here on Sky. It's the Auckland Vulcans up against the Otago Whalers, followed by the Auckland Falcons against the Canterbury Bulls. Really great to have you along. And Otago, they come north knowing that they've got a job to do against an Auckland squad that are stacked full of talent. We're really pleased to have you with us as we look at the championship table. Both teams unbeaten in pool play. For Auckland, they were down at Rotorua where they knocked off the Orcas, the Vipers and the Stallions. The Whalers do too good for the Rams, the Chargers and Aoraki Rugby League. So it brings these two proud zones together for this clash to determine this year's championship victors. Great that you could join us here. For Dale Husband, tēnei, and also with us, Warangi Kopi, tēnā koe, wai?
Tēnā koe, Dale, tira tēnā rā tātou katoa, e ua, e te ua, yeah. The rain is falling down here in Tāmaki Makaurau, Te Raki Paewhenua over on the north shore of Auckland, and it's not going to scare us today, though. It's going to be some great rugby league out here, Dale Husband.
Well, the Whalers had a great victory up against the Canterbury squad a season or two back. Let's have a look at their lineup today. They've got some fine players. Of course, a lot of them play rugby, and then at the back end of the season, they come into their rugby league fold, and then effectively they've gone straight here into this regional play. Keep your eye out for a couple of young guns in there today. Big raps on Mackenzie Hoare, who is after some sort of record, having picked up all sorts of championships through the year. Ricky Joel Allen is also hugely experienced, and indeed the chair of Otago Rugby League. But keep a lookout for big Mikaela Murphy, who's starting in number 20, the big prop forward. He's got a ton of go forward, and he's a big burly bloke that'll take some looking after. Their coach for the Otago Whalers is Dave Reedy.
Dave, hell of a day to play rugby league. How does your approach to this game change with the weather?
Doesn't really change too much. The style we play, pretty much all conditions. We've already had a game like this in the West Coast in our first hit out, and it was pretty dusty, so we're used to these kind of conditions.
The squad get through all right from last week's game against Southland?
We lost a couple of players. Big Champ Beetham, he just had a baby, so he couldn't make the trip today. And Tofatu Salia has gone home to Samoa to visit his parents for a couple of weeks, so he's unavailable.
It's always tough coming up against a Nakarana side or an Auckland side, the Vulcans. Where's the main focus for the Whalers to get the victory today?
We're just focusing on ourselves pretty much. As long as we can control what we can control, then we'll give it a good shake. We come up here, these are the games that we live for. The big matches, get to play against the big boys and test our wares and see what we can do.
Good luck today, mate. Stay dry.
Cheers. Can I give a little shout out to our Otago under-16 girls, Anya, Sahara, Maddie and Tracy, who are playing for the Scorpions in the youth tournament this weekend. Go well, girls, and see you when you get home.
Nice, Steve. Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah, good to see. Look, it's a tough ask here. They've only really got 4 clubs that do battle down in Otago, but the league fraternity, they're very tight, and so it was wonderful of Dave to acknowledge those rangatahi wahine involved in zonal play. Well, they're up against the Auckland Vulcans, and Tony Benson's their coach. He's got a ton of experience, as have many on the track here today too. Keep your eye out for Chris Seal, powerful, built low to the ground, but really takes good post-contact meters. Gillette, Tui, Tama run beautiful lines, good offloads, and in the front row there, Whaimani Fraser, Shopcore, they're going to take some beating. Arona is the skipper and former Canterbury connections. They're a fine side, and Otago will have to be on their game to get the points up here today. The coach of the Akarana Vulcans, the Auckland Vulcans, is Tony Benson.
Tone, simple, basic football should get the job done today.
Yeah, exactly. It's not really our game, to be honest, but we've been playing the Sunshine of Rotorua in the other tournament, and we got to use the ball, which is what we like doing as a team. But today's a test. Yeah, it's a fine line between using the ball and keeping it tight.
Yes, I suppose as a coach, where's the point of difference for these boys today? Where do we focus on in terms of getting the job done?
Well, it's really on us completing sets and playing down their end. We've got to keep the ball off them and keep playing down there, and that's the focus at the start at least, and then we'll see what happens from there. But as the game opens up, but that's certainly our focus right now is keeping the ball for us.
Just quickly, where do you think Otago is, I suppose, most dangerous?
Well, they've got two good halves. You've got a fullback that can return the ball and some pretty big forwards. So you've pretty well got the field to cover there. And they're a very good side. I've watched a few of their games and they play really well. So we've got to be really up for it today.
Good luck today, Tim.
Yeah, thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Tony Benson, always respect your opponents. We're at North Harbour Stadium here. The lights are on. The rain is pelting down as we welcome these two teams. And a proud moment too for Otago Rugby League. They haven't actually played against an Auckland squad since 1956. The last time, really, that was in provincial play. This is more zonal play. But a great opportunity for the guys from down south, some of them with Auckland connections, to get out and do the business. Well, closer to the action for us here today too, it's Motu Tony, the CEO of New Zealand Rugby League. And Motu, you know full well that they might not have too many teams to choose from, but when they pull on that Otago jersey, they really stand tall. Your thoughts as we go into this one, Motu?
Yeah, definitely, Dale. These Otago boys, they're tough hombres, and they're going to give these Vulcans boys a good challenge, especially with this weather. You know, the weather would be a great leveller. So I'm expecting these Otago boys to really, test these Vulcans players because they've got nothing to lose today.
And a neutral referee, Jack Fevers, is in today. Actually, referees down at the Wellington competition, but lives in Marlborough, so that is indicative of his commitment to the code. And of course, he'll have talented Auckland touch judges on the side. Listen, we're really pleased to have you with us here on Sky. Like I say, the crowd might be thin, but there's some big action that will await you here in this double header coming to you from QBE Stadium on Auckland's North Shore.
Good.
So we are underway. And first touch of the ball.
Stand together
Otago
now!
Whalers.
And square! Hold! Go, one.
It's so important that they steer the ship well. This is what I mean. This is
Square now! Hold!
We'll just go forward all day
Go,
for Coach Reedy. And ball control is going to be hugely important here.
Stand together!
Difficult conditions, White.
Wait! Go!
Yeah,
three.
indeed. Both coaches
Outside.
alluded to it. Just ball security out here today is going to be paramount. Trying to complete sets and hold on to the ball and I suppose put pressure on the opposition is going to be key for both of these sides. And like Mort said, I like it that this weather is a real leveller for, in particular, Otago. In that Akaranga or Auckland can't really do the shift plays, the flashy plays that they've been doing in the previous weeks.
10-9!
Well, that's Mackenzie Hall with a powerful kick. Huge punt, but in the end, just scooting a bit
Just wait, mate, wait.
too far
Nothing
for
quick,
him.
mate, wait.
That's Israel
Wait.
Tanuku, jersey number 12 for Otago.
0 coming.
As expected to, Dale, with Motu and I across the field this morning. There's a lot of surface water down there.
Quick now, 20! All the way. Go, 1.
Bit of
25.
darting run here from the hugely experienced Marcus Fraser.
Play
There's
on,
Tony
keep
Benson
going.
coaching the Glenore Reveres.
Now, Cameron!
The
And
runners-up
square.
in the Fox Memorial
Hold.
Championship
Go,
here in the
2.
Auckland competition as Fraser peels forward again. Back it comes to Chris Seal. Always a difficult
Play on, still 2.
man to tackle.
Out now,
And darting
try.
forward here.
Here we are. Up.
And we're
Wait.
midway between the 20 and
Wait.
30. As Auckland mount the
Go,
first
3.
challenge, just a couple of minutes into the game. Here's Tevin Adorno, drops it off on the inside to Fine Money. He's had a wonderful season in 2022, Fine Money. He's tackled by OLSC.
Wait.
They find
Go,
themselves on the
4. I need those
20-metre
quicker,
line.
Troy.
Great opportunity to
Good,
mount an
good.
attack as Dylan Savita chips it into the end goal. Very big end goals here too at QBE Stadium. And Tama Apaneru pushes the ball dead for the Otago Whalers as we cross the Motutoni.
Thanks, Dale. That was a nice set there from the Vulcans. They finished it off quite nicely with the kick there. And like you mentioned, there are big in goals here, so there's a lot of chance to get repeat sets and really test those fullbacks, Dale.
They just need to take a deep breath. They would have been pretty excited to get out here and the big smoke. They flew up last night and they're heading back home today. So big ups to all of our supporters of Rugby League down in Otago. And there are plenty of them too, as we celebrate the clubs that make up the bulk of the Otago Rugby League scene as Fire Money once again
Hagen, straight out.
winds up.
Square now. Hold. Go, 1. Marcus, good.
By money from the Genora club. Very aggressive
Straight out, Troy!
on his
Let's go
defensive
here.
work. This is Morton Gillette. Great season for him too.
Last chance, Troy.
Vulcans
Play on.
steadying the ship through Seal now. Straightened run. Wrapped up with the tackle of Palacio.
Try line, boys, try line.
Dumbing half work for Fraser. Numbers down the right edge. And Dilatavita is already across the line. Well, too strong. And they had the roll on, the Vulcans. That's a great start for them.
Yeah, indeed. Just a little bit late to reset their line on that blind side was the Otago Whalers. They just struggled with the momentum of the play of the ball. And it's fantastic effort there from Dilatavita to take advantage of that. You can see the Whalers just struggling to get back on the short side. And it's a good put down in the end, especially one-handed in this weather.
Motu.
Like you mentioned, Corps, the Whalers are just struggling with the physicality of the Vulcans side at the moment. They're just letting the Vulcans boys play that ball too quick, and they're not having their line set, so the Vulcans boys are just running to turn backs and a stationary line. So they're going to need to do something about that, or it might be a long afternoon or long morning for them.
Yeah, it's unusual to be playing at this time of day, but it just coincides with the broadcast schedule as we look for the conversion attempt. One thing that you can't afford to do early in a game, though, is to hang your head too much. Very easy for teams to start off. It's like being in the boxing ring. Some guys come out of the corner and they want to get engaged right from the middle where others are going to sort each other out. Quite obviously, the Vulcans have been told to get in, work fast, get your mark early in the match and build from there as we look for the conversion here from Tevin Arona. Tevin, of course, about 26 now from Canterbury, now playing for the Richmond club in Auckland. And this one off the post, but still good. And he's hoping that's a good form here. He's got a bit to play for here, Tevin, today, because he's hoping to get into the World Cup Cook Islands squad wide.
Yeah, I think he has represented that side before, hasn't he? But that obviously at the World Cup level would be fantastic to see Tevin there. Some good talent coming through the Rarotongan team.
Yeah, the coach rates him, says that he's a great student of the game, and halves need to be really understanding not so much what works for them, but why things don't work for them. Yeah, it's such an important aspect of football as this one comes off the upright.
Gee, that was unlucky for the Whalers. That was going to bounce over the dead ball line for sure if that didn't hit the post.
That would have given them a close range opportunity.
Right side here. Hold. Go 2.
Mike Williams is in jersey number 18. An interesting story. He's out of the Canterbury club and sort of stood out. Some strong performances. He's not big, but actually runs a gym. So the coach Benson says he's defensively strong. Keep an eye on him.
Go 4.
And always in good nick too. Running the gymnasium as the Vulcans look to just hammer down with the advantage. This time it's a setup. Waterson comes into the acting half role. The Whalers looking to take this clean. The bounce important, and it's taken at the back here from Mapanedu. Wants to hold on to the ball, and he does. Those are the South Pacific Raiders. There's Tama. And this is an encouraging run too. Plenty of purpose and intent.
Here, wait.
Head and Hatch to play it now, France.
Dale, I think the key for the Whalers here is to get those outside backs in and to really test those big forwards for the Vulcans. Some of them are taking some big deep breaths already, so those outside backs for the Whalers have got a big job this morning.
Fire money, 42 out as they work it down the left edge.
Fine.
Good carry here from Otanuku.
Here we are. Wait. Go, right.
Actually, Otanuku was at King's College here in first 15 captain.
No touch.
From Auckland, so he's got some form, and the rugby scene is a good set here for the Otago Whalers. We'll get them back-to-back sets, and that'll be encouraging and a confidence builder for the boys from the south.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, and a bit of breeze behind the Otago Whalers. You can see the kicks go up. They go a long way. It's a little bit hard to judge for the back three for the Vulcans, and that one there neither of them really wanted to catch it, and it bounces over and gives the opportunity for the Otago Whalers to get the ball back. Good thing, isn't it? 0 errors so far, Dale, which is fantastic. Good completion rate.
We're going for the short kickoff. And this time it's going to be a penalty right in front of the posts. A great opportunity here for the Whalers to bounce back after conceding that try by Savita in the 4th minute.
Must have been close.
So here is Hawk. Won't even think about the 2 points. We'll load up. Caleb Muffy, once again, wrestled to ground and is sealed. Turns him around with work from Shomkul. Back row, vice captain, free. Terrell, 7 out from the try line.
Go, 2, play on.
Anstis, the greatest of balls, as Apanetu chimes in. Straightening on the runs, Palacio, but he's greeted with a wall of blue defenders.
You've locked him in, mate.
Fullback to half.
9, straight out.
Lands to the slaughter that time and the run. Too many big men up through the middle. As Muffy comes charging and goes low. He's over the line. But the Vulcans get underneath him and eventually drive him back. Oh, he came ever so close.
Go, last.
It's the last tackle. Crossfield kick from Mackenzie, who in fact wants to put it into the end goal. Have a look here. And a speedy return of football from the fullback Corey Craig.
Great pickup of that ball. So just a little bit too lateral, that's it, from the Whalers. Didn't offer enough lateral movement in terms of the defence, and didn't ask enough questions. They got themselves out pretty easy in the end, the Vulcans.
Here's the setup.
Go, 3. Hey, you're not there.
Good little run here too from Marcus. Fraser knows when to pick the hold, looks up. Good eyes, sides the gap. Ankled run here, beautiful for Williams.
Last one, straight out.
Hair flailing in the background as the fitness fanatic comes charging into his work as a chip over the top. The bounce is good for the Whalers. And then driven back too. Kieran Hatch.
Those drop-off plays that we see the Vulcans doing, those are the keys today. Just wrong-footing the defence. Attacking some weak shoulders.
On the 20 for the Whalers here. Tamaki wrestling his way forward.
Auckland. Go, 3, play on.
The speedster. At the Era last year, Tavaki spent that in Australia. He plays for the Raiders club as well, South Pacific Raiders, and wisely decided to kick that downfield. And wow, will that make it into touch? It's a beautiful kick in the end. Fielded at the back from Waterson. His kicking game's really spot on, Mackenzie Hoare. And that's an example of it. He can put towering bombs together.
Yeah,
that one just skidded across the surface.
Right, yeah, a little bit more of an angle, and that would have been a 40-20 for sure. And held up well, and there's a bit of pressure now on the Vulcans' big boys to get to turn around and get back and help out.
Playing well with the top 2 inches at the moment, the Whalers. Motu.
Yeah, very well. That kick there by Mackenzie Hoare just summed up what's on offer for the kickers and halves there. If they can get some front foot ball and kick it down there, but this penalty won't help them after a great quick game.
Yeah, Williams earned that too. He wanted to get on with it. The referee noted that. And what is obviously a big weekend for rugby league, and Sky Sports the place to watch it all. Battle of the Westies there in Sydney.
Stay behind, boys.
Don't forget to stay with us here today too. We're doubling up. We've got the Auckland Falcons Canterbury Bulls. It's going to be a cracker this afternoon. Glenn and the team bringing you that action as we see surging rain here from Roy and Gillette. And that one's been tapped down, so it'll be a scrum feed here. And good field position too to mount a challenge for the Vulcans. You might explain, Motu, while we've got a quick chance. how the structure of the Vulcans, how they got to be in this tier as against obviously Counties Monaco and the Auckland Falcons, who are playing later on in the men's Premiership, the Championship, and Auckland involvement in it.
Yes, Dale, the Vulcans have come into play, and they've selected a team that largely made up of players that weren't selected or weren't eligible for the Akarana or Counties Monaco side. So it's great to see more players get an opportunity to play, because we're trying to boost the numbers of men, but just participants generally across the game. So the Vulcans are a great addition to our championship, and hopefully to the Premiership in the new season, because it's still a lot to play for, and Otago got a lot to play for as well.
So Seal is cut down, but look out, here's Fraser. He's a canny sort of a player, Marcus Fraser, like I say. It's one of the traits of your number 9, the ball distributor. Just spy those opportunities, and once again, it's Tavita. He'll look across field, and it's finished off beautifully. Right on the money for Siapo Pasene. Brilliant play, and once again, Dylan Tavita showing his class.
Oh yeah, Pasene was out there just waiting on that ball to be kicked across, and ball was good enough. He had a hell of a lot to do still, Pasene, to try and pick this ball up off his toes. As you can see, he was the only person out there pointing at the in goal, and there are big in goals, and did a great job, the right side winger, to collect that ball and cross over for the second for the Vulcans.
Great vision there from Tavita too there, Corpse. He saw his winger was right on the touchline, and the Whalers winger was just too far infield there, so they've used that massive in goal, but also some great vision from Tavita to great effect to get 4 points, soon to be 6 probably.
That's a great finish, good foresight too, once again from Dylan Tavita. He's a standout, isn't he? New Zealand residence player, and out of the Fox Prems for 2022, as Tevin looks to add the extras for the last time off the cow horns, but through. Of course, looking at the Auckland squad, they're coached by a man who spent 11 years up in England. You would have crisscrossed paths with him for the time, I guess, that you were up there. He's been back in NZ about 3 or 4 years, Tony Benson, from a crack Mount Albert club, but ended up doing some coaching over there. I think he coached the Lee Centurions, maybe to a win over the Hull Kingston Rovers for the Arriva Cup. Was coached at that time by Justin Morgan, who's a familiar name to us here in NZ Rugby League. Let's ride this one home with Tevin. That one's flagged away. So a 10-0 scoreline here. But they've had to work hard for their tries. Yeah, did you crisscross paths up in England with Coach Benson there, Motu?
Yeah, definitely did. And, Tony's had a really good run in the coaching space, and, he had a great experience in the UK. And I think today's conditions reminded us of being back in the UK, Dale, so we feel quite at home in this wet day in North Harbour Stadium, or the QBE as they call it now.
I was really pleased to see Connie and the St Helens squad with that amazing victory once again over Leeds in the Super League final. And isn't it exciting to have the World Cup staged there, Motu, and teams from all over the globe heading there, and of course we'll be fielding a really competitive Kiwi squad in 2022.
Yeah, that's right. Our Kiwis, and Kiwi Ferns are looking forward to a great tournament. And like Conrad Harrell, hopefully we get a chance to play at Old Trafford, because that means we've reached the final.
Well, the fullbacks come after a brilliant run there for the Vulcans, and they're on fire at the moment. They're really dangerous here for the Otago Whalers. Reedy will be very concerned. They haven't had a lot of football in the last little while. 17 minutes gone, already conceding 2 tries. Out of dummy half goes Fraser again, trying to weave his magic. He's dragged to ground by Palacio, but they're under the pump here, and some questions are being asked. And once again, it's Tavita who goes across field. Nicely taken out here on the right edge by the number 2, Tavake, who is dragged into touch, and he pops the ball back on the inside. There are going to be some questions here that are going to be asked by Jack Fevers as to whether or not he popped the ball back on the inside. They're going to give this try. Well, a mistake there from Tavake, who thought he had his own men around to pick up on the football. In the end, conceding a try. An unusual try, but it sticks and it's on the scoreboard.
Yeah, indeed. And you could hear Coach Jack Fevers say that don't drag him, don't drag him. And I suppose before he could actually reach touch, he's dumped that ball back on the inside, and it meant that the Vulcans boys were right on the money there, and the setter pick it up and cross over for maybe one of his easiest tries he's ever scored.
Unfortunately, it's pressure, isn't it, Corpse? You know, the poor Tavake there didn't want to give away a repeat set by getting dragged into touch, but unfortunately he's given a try away there. But, you know, look for him to bounce back. You know, these are tough conditions to play in, and, you know, he thought he was doing the right thing there, but it just hasn't worked out for him on this occasion.
Yeah, thank you, Mutsu, but we might get another chance to have a little look at it, whether or not part of his body had hit that sideline before he laid the ball back. Like I say, it's on the board now. Touch judge, referee combined. I don't know, missed his last. Already 14-0. Real kick in the guts for the boys from down south side, that's for sure. This one's coming around. It's coming around. And up go the flags. That's spot on. Well, the palm trees in the Cook Islands will be swaying in support. Let's have another look here. So, towards the line he goes.
Same again, Macca.
Not much in it.
You again, Ed.
Yeah, real tight. And he knew as soon as he let that ball go to Vake, he knew that he'd made a bit of an error.
16-0, it's a good lead. Interestingly, this Auckland squad, all their wins, they knocked up 42 points. So that's their average in the 3 games they played. They played Wellington 42-0. Here or thereabouts, I guess, was really what Tony was saying to me when I chatted with him earlier. Upper Midlands 42-12, 42-14. So they can score points, there's no doubt about that, and they already have 2.
Square now. Here. Hold.
3 tries to 0. Seo again. He can spark a bit of a revival here at the moment. There's plenty of roll on. The momentum hugely behind the Aucklanders. As Trent Shopko carries forward, Fraser hurdles a player. Now the downtowner, and that's going to find space too. That's going to, well, that was dangerous.
Second one came this way. Hand over here. Thanks, mate.
Yeah,
Hand over here.
fortunate there. The Whalers, no one really put their name on that high ball. It's going to be tough to take, but someone's going to have to be brave and get hold of those. But yeah, just a little knock on first by set up. Gives the ball back to the Whalers.
Right side here. Hold.
But also has it since finally the Whalers have some possession.
Here we are.
Dale, I'd like to see the Whalers just have some support for the ball carriers here, just to take some of those Vulcans defenders off their ball runner, because the Vulcans are getting 3 tacklers in there and just slowing down their play the ball. So if they can get some support runners with their ball carriers, it might just help them get some quicker play the balls.
The one in front of you is fairly predictable and easily accounted for by the defensive line as they drag this time up and headed across the sideline.
Give him nothing! Give him nothing!
Nothing really working at the moment for the Whalers.
Yeah, once again, just a little lateral there. It's easy pickings really for that Vulcan sliding defence.
Wait for me.
And bearing in mind the slippery surface, which you commented about too earlier on, Mike. Running close to the line, always fraught with danger. As we see once again a powerhouse run. Williams is looking good out there today. So's Fraser. Easy meters away from 1, make it 2. Pops the pass away to the try-thrower Pasene. He's close to the line, but the Whalers can't push him across on the far side of the field. Now just 15 meters out. First receiver is Tavita, but there's been a real thorn in the side here today for the Whalers. So Otago under the pump yet again is Tui Tama, goes through Shompkul to Seor, and now the chain passing is skillful. The running is also hot. The pass not so good too from the centre this time around. And the disappointment, perhaps even embarrassment, evident on the centre's face.
Yeah, indeed. I think if Isera had, Watterson had caught that one, would definitely have been a touchdown.
Here we are. Wait.
It's away off him and
Take it back there. Pick it up and play it
covered
properly.
his face with his hands, and gee, that one got away from me.
Go now.
23 minutes gone. It's been a tough day at the office thus far here for Otago, and as you can see, some brutal defence by the Aucklanders. Well drilled and good nick physically, and some real aggression coming into their defensive work. Hack starts from dummy half, hits and spins, wrapped up by Shopko here, just short of the 40, still in their own end of the track. It's better play. Ricky Joel Allen, one of the most experienced in there, from the University Club, as he gets the ball away. Ricky, great contributor. A chance to get some easy meters here.
Yeah, that's a relieving penalty for. That's probably one of their best sets so far, the Otago Whalers. Like Mort said, they're running in pairs. There was a nice run out of dummy half by one of their backs, and they picked up a penalty on the last tackle. So back-to-back sets, a little bit of pressure here. Go back to that tactic. Put a little bit more pressure and ask a few questions of some of the individual defenders.
Ricky Joel Allen, as mentioned last time we had these guys on Sky TV, the captain and teacher at John McGlashan College down in Otago. I know that a lot of his students, his tauira, are pretty proud of Teach here this afternoon. It's him with the football.
Here we are. Go, Vulcan, Ricky. Wait. Go, 2. 13, you're ready, mate.
Best chance in a long time here for the Whalers as Hoare holds up the pass. And then tackled without the ball, I suspect will be the referee's decision. That's how he reads it too. So Otago get another bite at the cherry here from 12.
Yeah, fair enough.
Tanuku was taken out of the play. Back row, the start-off run on the set, hit by his opposing number 2, Hagen Free, the vice-captain. But he's only just a couple of metres away. It'll really give him a boost if they're able to crash across the line here and trying to do just that. There's Allen. He's held up. Hollander, dummy half. Munted in the tackle, but coming out too early. The referee says Shopko got away too early.
Back you go. Take it when you want, Jordan. Here's your mark. You can take it back.
Trent playing for Northcote, just around the corner here.
No more penalties.
On Auckland's North Shore. The rain's eased up just a little bit, but still tough conditions out there, as the spray coming off the surface would indicate. Hollander delivers. Hoare across field. Back on the inside. Heavy traffic up through the middle for the back row of 3. Can't find his way forward. Here's Hollander now, who goes straight through and underneath the sticks. Hollander slices them open, and that's just the shot in the arm that the Whalers needed.
Yeah, not long on the field there, Jaden Hollander. He was off a nice quick play of the ball, which meant he could get out a dummy half nice and quick, get built low to the ground, so he just caught the Vulcans' defence unawares. Here's the run back on the inside. Just beat a defender and it's one-on-one, no markers, and Hollander picked the ball up while the big men like Shumko were getting back on side. Couldn't get down low enough and stop the dummy half from crossing over. So good try.
Nice try there. Always nice when you see a number 14 or a half or a hooker get in there and get those easy tries, or not easy, simple tries. So I don't want to discredit the try, but Hollander's looked really good since he's come on, and he's rolling his forwards around the field quite nicely. So that's a nice reward for his efforts so far.
That's a Motutoni special right there. Quickly get into dummy half and dive over.
That's right. Get all the credit for the hard work that the forwards have done.
Yeah,
Is that what you're getting
the
at?
back row just played the ball fast. And halfback will take all the glory.
That's why it brought a smile to my face, because why work harder when you can work smarter, eh? And get your name in the newspaper, as they used to say back in the day.
Well, they used to put names in the newspapers too. It was a big go. Good on young Jaden too. Look, he's been with the squad a few years now, 4 or 5 years. Plays for the University Club down there. And he brings a bit of fizz and energy. So Mel, their manager, was telling me when I had a yarn with her. But his old man has played for Otago as well. He's refereed down there and coached, so the Hollander name is synonymous with Otago Rugby League, and no doubt they'll all be pretty proud of Jaden's effort there. And that's a good short kick-off for the court. The Whalers unawares, so some good work, perhaps undone slightly there by not making sure of getting that ball from the kick-off. And now it's Marcus Fraser who again is terrorising this defensive line, manages to pop the pass nicely also, picks up Tui Tama. As you can see, just 5 metres out so quickly from the kick-off. And after scoring points, so vital that you get a good next set. And at the moment, it looks like they're in a big bit of trouble here as an audacious dummy from a setter makes up for his faux pas of a few minutes ago. And after scoring a good try, they concede one within just a couple of minutes. So it's certainly up and down at the moment here for the visitors from Otago.
It was the second time, I'm not too sure if it's an intentional kick, but it was the second time it was a bit of a short kick. It held up in the wind. And there was a great work by Paseni out there on the right edge, who got over his opposite and managed to pick up that ball and straight away on the attack. And this was a nice little shift. The Whalers did manage to get numbers across there pretty quickly, but little show and go, left foot step, and he beat 4 back on the inside. Good work, good answer from Capelli setup.
Yeah, nice try from Isero there, Corpsel, as you mentioned. I really like this battle that's unfolding on this left edge for the Vulcans, right for the Whalers. You've got, Big Sione Faoso, and you've got Isero as well. So if I'm the Whalers, I'll be trying to get some more ball to Faoso, because he's quite handy with the limited touches he's had so far.
Yeah, good game management there, the short kick-off. Just confidence high here for the Vulcans. And now very straightforward conversion attempt here for Tevin from right in front of the posts. If you've just joined us, really pleased to be bringing you the first part of a double header here on Sky Sport today. And due to kick off at around 1 o'clock is the NZRL National Men's Premiership final. It's the Auckland Falcons against the Canterbury Bulls. So we see some of those players awaiting their opportunity watching on here today at QBE. Not one of our usual venues, but with the Women's World Cup coming on soon is Chris Seal. Where's his brother Mike now? Do you know Motu?
I think Mike's playing in Australia, so Chris was playing his trade for Marist, and he's really looked good today. He's got that, he can do the tough stuff in the middle of the field, but he can also find a nice pass, so he's got a nice mix to his game, Chris Seal.
I'm looking forward to seeing some of these Kiwi guys when they head out in the grand final as well. Obviously plenty involved in both teams, Penrith and the Parramatta Eels, as we see the Vulcans. Well, the mood has changed here, hasn't it? It's now, they look at the scoreboard and it's prompted an air of flamboyance, which they're starting to manipulate as Kalani Ely takes the ball forward, replacements on. This is David Jardin Ngamor. Good little offload, and really now the experience starting to show. I think number 8, Fire Money, gets them into range here. And they're coming thick and fast. Look out, Otago. That ball bounced. And the ball has been deemed forward. Well, just a sigh of relief here for Otago. We didn't know where to look as this barrage of runners just coming at them left, right and centre.
Yeah, maybe a little overconfident there from Dylan DeVita. He tried to throw it over his shoulder. There's some great offloads in that phase by the Auckland Vulcans. Anytime there's some second phase by the Auckland side, and they've had a few of them now, they really trouble the Whalers, and I suppose it's unexpected in the conditions that we have, but most of them have been fairly safe, so yeah, good work.
8 to go here, and you're watching the action of the championship final for the NZRL for 2022. This time it's Palacio, but he gets shunted backwards and will play the ball less than 10 out from his own line. Out of dummy half goes up and Edu. He tries to get a bit of up and at him, but he's pulled to ground.
Dale, we've had over half an hour played so far, and I must applaud the handling for both teams. You know, there hasn't been a lot of drop ball given the weather conditions, so, you know, well done to all the players so far, you know, with the amount of drop balls being virtually nil at the moment.
Well, we talked about earning the right to go wide, and the Vulcans have indeed achieved that, and that's why we're seeing a little bit of innovative play and prepared to give the ball some air across field. This is a dash to the sideline, then a step late, straightened. Corey Craig's got a talent pace, Corey. Made his way into the Vulcans out of the Hibiscus Coast Raiders. Got a tag and touch background, and the fullback here today coming to find himself a bit more action. The Siapu Pasine. Good D from Hoare. Williams has caused them a lot of problems too. Good angled running and always searching for the gap, and of course the commentator's mocker hits him. We haven't seen a lot of drop ball, as Mutu rightly attested to, but this time around just squirts from his grasp.
Yeah, I think that's the first unforced error that we've seen so far in the game, and Williams is always looking for that quick play the ball. This time he planted it just a little bit too quick, and some legs in the way, all sorts. You see just a little error there. It's the way there's an opportunity. I tell you what, Hoare's got a fantastic boot. If he can get that direction right, he could pick up a couple of 40-20s in this game. I suppose it's probably best to come in this first half with the wind behind his back.
We mentioned the multiple taonga that he has received through the year. Mackenzie Hoare, the championship winning rugby team, and the under-85 Bush Pigs rugby, which is it's a really tough comp, that, the under-85 kg, because you get some of the old nuts still fit and strong, some emerging young talent. Good grade they play in the 15-man code. Bit of it goes on in this 13 as well. Sideways drive.
Go 4. Outside. Go touch. Last one.
Tackle on the far side of the field is up and Edu, and here it goes to Hoare. This time he puts some on it. A towering punch. Tough to read, beautifully taken at the back by Craig. Skillful, and under the circumstances, able to change direction too.
Yeah, hell of a take by Craig, running backwards, swirling in the wind.
It was the right play from Hoare. They've left themselves exposed. A couple of these tries have come first off the back of the try that was scored by Hollander from a setter. And that was also a setter who profited from the pass back on the inside when there was some pressure at the back. And Tavaki panicked a little bit. So they've made life tough for themselves at 22-6. They're still showing plenty of character and heart. The Otago squad, and that's evidenced there. And the tackle put on by Palacio. Out of dummy half, Williams again. Good, powerful run from Mike. Matafa is the big guy there in jersey number 22, as we see Seal on the wind up through the middle. Good defence. Joel Allen in the back row, a free combining, but there is still danger existing here as we see the ball come through the back. Out wide to Waterson. He's got some pace. And has he lost that? And that's the way that referee Jack Fever sees it. He's had a good season. He was the referee of the tournament, the National Secondary Schools Championship, Jack, and Rotorua.
I suppose it's say, we don't give our officials enough reps. He's had a great first half so far, Jack Feeks.
Yeah, that's right, Corps. I spent the National Secondary Schools down in Rotorua, so I got to see Jack officiate matches, and he had a fantastic tournament, and rightly, as Dale mentioned, got recognised as the match official of the tournament.
So what they can ill afford now is to concede any more points in the first half. So ball retention here absolutely critical. under the 10. I'm thinking that Dave Reedy will say, boys, we made a couple of errors in there, but not insurmountable if we can get our game together. Even though the Vulcans are a powerhouse squad and look well drilled, they've shown enough to suggest that at times they too can match it. The Otago Whalers. Interesting details about Otago coming through also from the... Oh, and that's risk and intercept that was off the legs. Drag towards touch. A few rugby traits that might be being displayed here today as Kieran Hatch sends it through. So this match is just the 5th occasion the two sides have played each other since the first time that Otago played Auckland, which was in 1926. On that occasion, Otago travelled up to play at Carlaw Park for the Rugby League Cup Challenge before going down 14-4. The following year, 1927, at Auckland, headed to Dunedin, where they beat Otago 20-13. Before the Southerners travelled north the following year for another Cup Challenge at Carlaw Park. But this time Auckland pulled out their stops to win 36-12. Some historical information about meetings between these two proud regions as that ball has been lost and popped up the pass. Looking for something out of nothing here is Tavake.
Hold! Go, 0. Marcus fine.
And another little snippet of information regarding these two regions
19.
is that a game that was played in Dunedin in 1956 at Tahuna Park was the first game of rugby league ever to be played in this country under lights. Seemingly the 51 Kiwis who played under lights in Britain. So that sparked the idea of lighting up the field. And Tahuna Park in Dunedin is still used also. The initiative to install floodlights there came back, I guess, with the 51ers. Well, there we go, and an interesting and entertaining first half of rugby league. Hope you've been enjoying it here in this double header. You're watching the NZRL Men's Championship final. We go to the break. It's the Auckland Vulcans who lead the Otago Whalers 22-6. NZRL had action here on Sky as a double header, and we're at QBE Stadium in North Harbour. Great to have you with us here today. Thanks for your company. Now, I guess a pinch and a punch for the first of the month. 22-6 scoreline here, and it's the Vulcans in control. They have really been from the get-go, but that I wouldn't want to be uncharitable to the attitude that the Otago Whalers team have put together. They're a hearty mob. At this stage, they really have to control the football early in the second half. They're averaging 42 points each time they take the track. This talented team and the proud blue and white of the Auckland region. As we see the big bloke in there as well, Michael Mataafa. It's in his second year, plays for the Raiders. He actually works with kids with disabilities too, so he's a sort of one of the leaders of the squad, Big Mike. And he's a popular figure around town because of his attitude towards league and life. As we welcome both squads back out onto the field. And we've got Motu in place likewise. While your assessment here, what needs to happen early on, please, Wairangi?
Look, I just suppose updates on the condition here from North Harbour Stadium. They haven't changed that all day. It's still very wet. The rain is actually going sideways from where our commentary position is. So be much of the same throughout the second half. We see the kickoff for the Whalers. Anytime the Whalers get together and start working in numbers and supporting each other in their runs, they trouble the Vulcans just a little bit. They just ask questions, and I think that's what they need to go back to in this half.
And any of you guys watching today who think the team's named after Uncle Bob Marley, I just need to tell you that the region was a whaling region. And no, it's not after Dave Dobbin's song either. So get that one out of your head. It's all about blubber. As we see the Whalers trying to make some moves here on Corey Craig. Motutoni has been down sideline, and conditions-wise, attitude-wise, and spirit-wise, I mean, that's good D early on here from the Whalers, but they need more and more and more of it, Motu.
That's right. They've got to show that same tenacity that they showed early in the game.
Look out.
Unfortunately, Tevin Arona's just crossed the line so early, so, you know, it won't be the ideal start that the Whalers were hoping to get away to.
And it was a little bit of an unusual try for Tevin. I mean, he's skillful, we know that, but a few things had to happen here. We'll get a look at it again, and the Whalers can feel a little bit unlucky, as they have in a couple of tries that they've conceded early on. Look at this, tap. Beautiful take as well, and then back on the inside, Royden Gillette, Tevin Arona. Well, he gets to have the big piece of the birthday cake, doesn't he? And to score in good position to convert his own try.
Yeah, well, no, number 16 there for the Whalers, Waibo, he's obviously just come on to the pitch. If he managed to pick that out of the air, would have been fantastic, but just a deflection and a charge down going wrong, and it was Tui Tama, Gillette, who picked that ball up and they crossed over. So yeah, a little bit disappointing early on in this one for the Whalers.
You look like you could use a Gillette as well there, actually, Mr. Korpu, with that big bushy beard of yours.
I heard it's the best a man can get. No?
Apparently, you know, so good you could buy the company. Well, Motu, that's not the start that they needed, eh, mate? And, you know, that'll make them sink, because they would have been talking each other up about what needed to happen in the second half, and to concede in the first minute of the second 40s, gut-wrenching.
Yeah, it is, Dale, and just the way the Vulcans sort of marched him down the field so early after the break. So, you know, they would have been, you know, rested and hydrated. So, you know, to give away so much, you know, land, and to also give away try, it's been a, you know, bit of a coach killer so early in the second half.
Let's see, they're trying for a short kickoff this time around too, and it works out favourably for them. That's a good start too for number 16, Sam Weiber.
Go, 0.
McAtee Walters is the number 17, as Hollander again comes into acting half. Could they bounce back and score a try themselves as the big number 8 carries this time around? It's Ricky Joel Allen stepping as far. Also, it's a big centre, Sonnet. The year of last year with a broken jaw, he's big and strong. But I also haven't seen him with the too many opportunities thus far, as Matafa gets hold of the footy again. He's right in front of the posts on the 10-metre line. Vulcan's end of the ground. Hoare, now the half-volley pickup is favourable here and dragging towards touch. Referee screams to say, no, we've got this one. Into the middle with Free. Flung to ground there by Hawaii Annandale, who's on in jersey number 16 with the headgear. Threading the needle this time. It'll go nicely to the end goal. There's a try. There is a try for Sam Weiber. Hasn't been on long, out of the South Pack squad. Good footwork. And he's from a town called Lawrence, which is a town with 2 streets.
Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah, well, he only knew one way that time. He was straight to the ball. Weiber, he made up for that blue he had just in that first set with the Vulcans, but nice little kick, like we have mentioned the first half. Real deep in goals and a little blue there from Waterson. Weiber, it's right on the money. All streets lead to the football, and there's only 2 of them, so it's not hard to get lost.
Good on you. Across to you, Motu.
Well, if there's only 2 streets where Weiber's from, you know, both streets are going to be talking about this try for a long time, and I'm sure he's going to be adding a few, you know, yards to how far he had to score his try. So nice to see Weiber score, but also Otago respond in the way that they have.
It's going to be the talk of the town.
He's going to be the celebration of the 2 streets of Lawrence. You're the pride of Lawrence. Good on you.
Well, that was, great answer from the Whalers. And I think that's my theory about whether those short kickoffs from the Vulcans in the first half were intentional or not, because that ball held up in the wind a hell of a lot from that kickoff. So it's a lot of pressure on those front defenders from the kickoff to try and pick that ball up. So
now, I haven't visited Lawrence, but now that Wyber's scored, that gives us all reason to. In fact, our director, I think, is from that area. Maybe he can bounce me in his ear and tell me where it is.
I can't wait to get my phone and Google actually where it is.
It's a gold mining town. Come again, please, Mr. Director. 1 hour out of Dunedin, and well worth a visit, especially with a metal detector. Oh,
It was great hands from Otanuku. There was a flat, hard kick that was sailing towards the sideline. He picked it up off his ankles. So met with some very hairy, not hairy, very heavy, aggressive defence.
yeah, look, that'll be a boost here for these young guys from Otago. Good stuff. Hagen free with the ball this time. So Holland has made a difference since he's got on, taking nothing away from Anstis, who started the game. Here's the 7. There's an intercept. It needed more of the Harbour Bridge.
Yeah, Waterson needed to make that one too. He'd coming a long way off his wing. If that ball had gone over the top, there was some space on the right for the Whalers.
Annandale with the carry. Now it's with Tavito, straightens it up. They've got control on the scoreboard so they can be ambitious in their approach. David Jardin, no more. His brother Ethan is also a similar build, 18th man today. As we see a beautiful ball and a lovely finish out wide to James Waterson. And the Auckland Vulcans say anything you can do, we can do better. And that's a good try for them down the left edge.
Yeah, made up for the error that he had just moments ago when the Whalers would score their second try. He was the one as well who picked off the ball to get it back for the Vulcans, and Waterson crosses over for his first try. He had to dive into some water, Waterson.
That's awesome, Corpse. That's really good for you, mate.
Thanks, Watts. Thanks.
But it was just that try came off the back of an error, that the Whalers just couldn't get that ball over the top because they had an opportunity. But the man who got the ball in that era has scored in the corner.
Thanks, Motu. And again, while we've got a chance with Tevin taking the kick from wide out, just bring us up to speed with tournament play, etc., secondary schools. Because I know you're trying to create many pathways with our game, and we accept too, as league supporters, that there have been some difficulties forced by COVID, but trying to rebuild interest in various grades. A quick update on some of the things that NZRL are putting together at the moment.
Yes, they also, we've got it's a hectic part of the calendar for us at the moment. So starting tomorrow in Taupo, we have our inaugural national youth tournament for our young girls or our young women. So the under 16s and under 18s national youth tournaments for the girls will be on offer from tomorrow, and this is the first ever time that we've ever done it. So, and that's to cater for the the explosion in female rugby league participation, and it's great that we're able to offer this. And also the boys national youth tournament, same age grades, under 16s and 18s, will also commence from next week on after the girls complete their tournament. So we're very full on at the moment, and then in the Labour weekend it'll be the representative window for teams that we select from these tournaments. So the under 16s will have Auckland versus rest of Aotearoa, boys and girls, and then the under 18s will have New Zealand clubs play the New Zealand schools. So it's a full packed schedule for our youth participants.
Thanks, Watson. You can throw in the Māori tournament too, which is October.
Yep. Well, just quickly, I heard that there was like 86 teams registered to that Rangatahi tournament. The boys won down in Whakatane. Is that right?
Yeah, I heard the same thing, Corpse, and that's that's just great that so many participants using the Māori culture and culture in general to play our game and bring them all together. So that's going to be a great weekend of rugby league also.
And there's going to be quite a few days off work, I would suspect, too, when the World Cup comes rolling around. It's a huge month ahead for the Code. Beautiful run here this time, and a nice little offload. Keeping it alive is Kalani out of the Mangat East Club. There's a nice story, Kalani, too, that Coach Benson was telling me. He was a standout player in the Hawks team, and he watched one game, I think it was the last game of the year, Kalani, by the way, just to remind you, is in number 19 for the Vulcans. Yeah, so the last game of the year, as can happen sometimes if you've got not much to play for, reserves can be what can fall away. So they really only had the 13 to play with. But he played 80 minutes and he played hearty, and his attitude to the game didn't diminish as the minutes went by. So part of the reason why Kalani Ili is in there from the Māoris Hawks is for that attitude that he displayed, and it caught the eye of Coach Benson, as could be said too of this guy, and certainly his work's caught our eye today. It's been really good today, Mike Williams, and so is this man. He's been excellent. Dylan Tavita, just too powerful, too much ball, and too much roll on here as the Vulcans really start to hammer at home now. 36 points to 10, and it could be a long 28 minutes or so left for this one.
Matty Tuitama had a lot of involvement in those last two sets, and on the back of that error, he went down that short side, and it was his pass, the final pass, back on the inside of Dylan Tavita that created the space, and here it is again. It's Mike Williams down there, driving forward, just getting ready and rid of tackles. Here's the offload. Tuitama goes back on the inside, spots the gap. Tavita crosses over for his second, pretty easy in the end. Just a weight of possession for the Vulcans as we'll put all the pressure on the Whalers.
Yeah, that's it, Corpse. It's just, the possession is heavily in the Vulcans' favour at the moment, but also possession in the right part of the field. So, the Whalers are defending their line, and they're just dropping off in terms of their middlemen in the middle of the field. They're just clocking off a little bit tired, so they're just going to have to hang in there, because the Vulcans aren't going to go away, and they're going to keep testing that middle part of the field of theirs.
Just a little wide this time, and the conversion, well, they're going to have to weather two storms. One has been thrown at them from Tawhine Mate, and the other, of course, it's been thrown at them from the Vulcans. Proud moments for all of the players. There's Tony Benson. I remember calling Tony's brother's footy years ago when I yarned with him. I said, "Are you the mule?" He says, No, that's my brother Carl. He used to play here on the north side as well. So Carl, if you're watching, some nice memories coming back of the way you used to cart the ball forward. And of course your bro ended up doing some really interesting work in the 11 years that he spent over there in England.
They've also got a really talented brother, a bit of a musician, is George's.
Breezing through life. Just Hey, Mutsi, this bloke's got more humour than I realised. Has it always been like that, Mutsi?
Well, he had me there. I thought he was telling the truth, but then I clicked, because I haven't heard this side of Wairangi, and I've known him a long, long time. So I'm not sure what he had for breakfast, but I'm glad he did have breakfast, because he's very particular about what he puts in that machine of his.
Yeah, for sure. Bodies at Temple, he's in good nick too. Still playing, man. And, hits out for Tani Whareau, our mate here. Here we go. This is what you're hoping for, because rugby league fans like the underdogs. Here he is again. It's Sammy Weiber. He's trying to find a way to the line. This time around it doesn't work out for him.
They had some space over that side. Defensive line for the Vulcans was all over the place as they take a few heavy breaths.
Not a bad place to turn over the ball, though, why isn't it? The Vulcans are going to have to work their way from their try line. So hopefully the Whalers can put some pressure on them and not let any penalties or easy get out of territory sets for the Vulcans.
Contact. Good off
You
as
can
well.
hear it. Yeah, beautiful. Maddie and Matthew with the football now. Annandale to the back. It's taken there by Upper Nedu. Tama. South Pacific Raider or something. This is back onto the track as Tavaki delivers and down the right edge for the first time. We get a chance to see Fa'oso over one. Show us another.
Right side here.
Forget about the last one. Get yourself another, as the saying goes. Up the middle they come this way, and no way through this time, says David Jardin Yalmore. Let's have another look at that shunting run here from Sione Vaosor. Boom.
He got rid of Waterson back on the inside and ran into a heavy man and nearly. Yeah, just a little error just to end that play for the Whalers. Some nice enterprising movement there from them.
There's been a couple of good contests, haven't there? As we see the scrum feed here for Tibbet. He's been a standout here today, Dylan. Real class act as we see another slice and dice run from Aruna.
Don't make it, mate. Just play it. Go, one.
Mike Williams has been strong today.
Right side here. Wait. Go, two. Play on.
Good to see guys coming out of different clubs. Hibiscus Coast, Mangere East, Ponsonby.
Here, right side here. Go, three. Not there, Hagen. Come 10.
Jaden Yalmore again. David, genuinely big guy. Annandale with it down to the Richmond Bulldogs. Born and bred. Chip over the top. Tavita's kicking game's been superb, and this time the ball beats everyone to touch. They're slipping and a sliding like the Lennon song. At the moment here on the track, it's just holding up pretty well.
Wait there. Wait.
Yeah, world-class pitch down here in QBE Stadium. Despite all the water on the surface, it holds up so well. I suppose that's why we've had fairly limited errors throughout this game. The ball security has been fantastic by both these teams, giving us a good game of football.
Wrestling work from Ali Tuatama also had a solid game here today. Muffy's back into the mix. That's Big McKay. Little show, nice whole shot round, but reading the play nicely to Aruna. Well, if he was pitching for a spot on the Cook Islands team, I think today's performance would have done him no harm, Tevin.
Yeah, he's looked really well, Dale. He's managed to get his team around the park and nice touches both, with the kicking game, but also he's had a chance to run the football as well. So he's had a really good game so far.
That's been knocked on, and Troy Anstis looks in some difficulties. He's just got up, clutching at his right shoulder.
Yeah,
Dr. Corpu, I presume.
Yeah, no, he got blindsided there. He was looking for a runner. And a bit of whiplash. I think that would have been a bit of a stinger through that right side. There you go, Bushka.
Yeah, pretty tough on him. Thanks for joining in today. Double header. Sky Sport bringing you local rugby league as the trainer comes on today to help out. Actually, I want to acknowledge for the Otago squad too, a bloke called Nathan Jones, who's been helping out. He's across in Melbourne, and Nathan is an ex-player from Otago, and he's been working on strength and conditioning across with the Storm. So he's been helping to bring a bit of unity into the camp and the way that they message, bringing some of his experience from the Storm setup to assist. And of course, the people there too as well has been helping out as a kicking technician. And all of the administrative staff, they didn't have any sponsors this year too, so they just sort of had to hold tough, Otago, and get themselves here. Dave Reedy, well, he's a very popular figure down in Otago. He's involved in all aspects of the sport as a mentor, a player. Actually, he's been helping a lot of coaches in Otago, Dave. He knew he was up against a formidable challenge here. And a good year for him. The under-16 squad. He's also the girls 13, as you saw him mention in the build-up to today's game. As we see Corey Craig with the ball on the far side of the field, trying to weave himself through the action, and this is where they're dangerous. Now Mike Williams got hold of the ball, and Mike, as we've seen, is powerful, but is he fast this time? He's tracked down by Keaton Hatch. Physiotherapy student, actually he's played in Auckland here in the Auckland under-16s kid. Yeah, but just getting back to Dave Reedy, like he's the head coach of the Scorpions and assistant coach in the South Island 20. So he's a guy who's just really devoted a lot of his energy and time to the rugby league code. So we salute his contribution.
Yeah, it's a fantastic contribution you mentioned there, Dale. And I must add that, you know, the South Island 20s, you know, got into the finals for the Ruben Wiki Cup. You know, you're going to see Canterbury play later today, and obviously the Vulcans. So, you know, South Island Rugby League is heading in a really positive direction, and it's down to people like Dave and anybody else there, and you know, down south that are doing a fantastic job.
Well, Troy probably not 100%. It's coming off that stinger, as you referred to there, Wairangi. And a little disappointed at making an error. They can hold their heads up still.
Yeah, just a loss of concentration there. Troy.
The double header we were referring to, the Falcons and the Bulls, two fine teams. And they'll be hitting the track here and live at 1 o'clock on Sky Sport, home of rugby league. And the referee has asked that the number 4, Tyrone Palacio, get some attention.
What's I'm not too sure if you had an opportunity to see over the last couple of days the Australian Rugby League with the rulings in terms of the junior football. No competition points until you're a teenager, and then also no contact with the little kids. Is New Zealand Rugby League thinking about anything like that, like adapting the rules for rugby league in New Zealand?
Yeah, and that's something that we changed the rules beginning of this year, Corps, you know, just around you know, trying to make the game safer but more enjoyable. So I saw that, and it was the New South Wales Rugby League on the back of, you know, some challenging times they've had there. So we haven't had the sort of the level of challenge that they've had, but it's certainly something that, you know, we would be looking at, because we're always about making the game more safer for our participants. But it's an interesting, you know, development, and one that not only us at New Zealand Rugby League will be looking at, but I think other NSOs that deal in contact sport.
Yeah, it's in a very vulnerable position. We might have a bit more of a yarn about that in a moment too, but let's just stay with the action here, because it looks as though, I thought for a moment that the Vulcans would score yet again. Yeah, my brother lives in the west of Sydney, a few hours west to be honest, and he was saying that they've had non-competition kids footy, so the schools, as you say, why aren't registered. There's been an absolute surge in interest in play. They just want the kids to have fun. You know, for old timers like me, it's hard to gel, because, you know, we were raised wanting to win, and I suppose that was the way you were raised as too, Wairangi, but as a dad, and in fact looking more like a granddad, you know, would you, what are some of your thoughts initially about that non-contact and non-competitive?
Yeah, I suppose, I mean, for the non-competitive side of things, it sort of takes away the aspect of, you know, the lot that come along to sort of games and take it a little bit too serious, where, you know, the kids, like what to say, they just want to play rugby league and enjoy themselves. So, yeah, there's a, you know, I suppose the proof is in the pudding. If, you know, the kids and the involvement in the game is picking up, then that's fantastic for rugby league.
There's a lock on the far side of the field there for Tavaki. Yeah. Dad, we scored 3 tries, but we won. You know, the other team might have scored 8. It's different.
Little arm wrestle period here for both these sides. 15 minutes to go. It's a great little ball. Mike Williams has been, sorry, that's Chris Seal. He's been strong today too.
Yeah, he's been really good, Chris, and here's Shonkool back into the mix. He runs into Big Rick. 36-10, 14 and a half to play here. And again, threading the needle, looking for the bounce, and the pickup was skillful. And that will be another try here. Well, it's worked to great effect here today. The kicking game from the Vulcans has been exceptional. The cross-field rubber kicking and chipping has been really first class. And, that's a try down the right edge this time around for Siapa Pasini, but let's just acknowledge Dylan Tavita's exceptional skill in this regard.
Yeah, once again, just recognising the space. Siapa Pasini, he could pick up a cake of soap that was sliding across the shower floor and not drop it. Fantastic effort from that right side winger once again. Crosses over for his second, I think.
Yeah, that was nice play there by Dylan Tavita, as you mentioned, Dale. You know, Wairangi and I used to have a coach by the name of Daniel Anderson, who used to preach all the time about running to the line with the ball in two hands, because when you run with the ball in two hands, you can pass it, you can run it, you can kick it, and Dylan Tavita certainly done that. He kept the defensive line guessing, and when he went to the line, he felt that the kick was the best option, and the end result is a try there. So well done, Dylan Tavita.
Wasn't he the bloke who banned hair products from the Warriors changing shed because of Clinton Torpy? Keep wanting to spike his hair up?
Yeah, I think Henry Fafili as well.
And Henry?
Henry Fafili and Shantae Hape, those were the main culprits, Dale.
Yes.
So I think he also banned silver vivids as well, because Henry used to sit in the change rooms 3 hours before and colour in his boots. He was an entrepreneur.
Oh, absolutely. Well, speaking of Clinton Torpy, I remember that test match, maybe you played a little more too, where he scored 3 tries right here. And it was memorable to me because I was here with my 2 sons, and we didn't have beers in our hands, we had hot dogs. So we'd sort of united the hot dogs in the air after try number 3 came, like the 3 amigos, you know?
Yes, I remember that test match really well, and you know, the name Clinton Torpy, what a fantastic player he was. He was a bit mad, wasn't he, Corpse? You know, he was always good for a laugh.
I saw an interview with Monty, and it was an exceptional cordial with Clinton. You know, whatever he might have been when he was young, he was. I just really enjoyed it. He was very articulate, very respectful, and he had great insight to the league scene of today. So I don't know exactly what Clinton's doing. He's in the Gold Coast or something, isn't he, Wayne?
Yeah, I think he works for the NRL as a welfare manager over there. Deals with a lot of the Aboriginal communities and rugby league, I think through the Titans brand. But he's loving his time over there in Australia. He's there, he's a great friend. Clinton Torpy, good brother that myself and Motu have had for a long time. Any insecurities that you may have, he is the person who will raise those insecurities whenever you're around him. Any hairline issues, he will quickly point them out.
And he provided many a time, humorous times. His relationship with Daniel Anderson was quite funny, so it was very humorous. So it provided the boys at training a lot of laughs.
Yeah, good stuff. On a more serious note too, we've got a lot of our guys in the league game, Motu, who are talking about emotional issues and mental health, and it was Mental Health Awareness Week. Perhaps it still is until tomorrow, and we see guys like Nico Hines raising the issue, and you know, Paul Fatts has been around talking this stuff through. It's really important, and we just wish everyone well, and teams are a wonderful environment to help with and share mental health issues and corridor and realities about emotional vulnerability, as we see a guy who deserves a try today, because Mike Williams has been hot, real hot, but sadly for the Otago Whalers, that eclipses the half century. They fancied their chances coming forward, but this Auckland Vulcans team really is just, you know, they've come out hissing and roaring, and they just want to make a statement and have here this afternoon.
Yeah, well, that was probably more of a shift play that we would typically see in the drive, with a nice depth. Some questions asked of the defensive. Meritui Tama almost made a meal of it, but the offload to Mike Williams, and like we said, it's been fantastic today. Mike Williams crosses over for a try. So
yeah, I think it's been a well-earned try there for Mike Williams. He's been really physical with his runs with the ball, and he's been the same on the other end in his defence. So good to see him get over the line. And you know, the Whalers boys have just been tested, and right up until almost the 70th minute, and this juggernaut from the Vulcans just hasn't stopped. So you know, they just need to see out the last 10 minutes and, you know, get some ball back in their hands.
My apologies, I was looking at the scoreline thinking there was 4 to be added, but that's where it sits at the moment. 46-10. Try so far to Tavita, Pasili, 2 to a setup, 1 for Aruna, Waterson, Tavita, and now Williams. They've really shown their class, and you know, hats off to Coach Benson as well, and the conversion also spot on there. So plenty to like about this Vulcans performance here today. You wonder how they might match up against the Falcons or even the Canterbury squad, as well as get another look at Mike Williams. Like I say, out of Ponsonby, big and solid and defensively sound. He's really stood out here this afternoon, the try scorer.
On the run!
There's Hall, the restart. And they've allowed that to bounce, and again troublesome because Tuitama won't let a chance go by. Matty. First receiver is Seor, who runs strongly against Allen. Brown is in there in the defensive line also, as we see Tui Fua this time. Schonkel. Been in the game a long time now. Clint Schonkel. Plenty of game time and years of service at the Mount Albert Club as Aruna waits it beautifully. Creating opportunities out wide there this time again for Kapili Seta. Aruna, it's going again. It's worked for him a few times so far. It's a tap back. Back to one it goes. And back to recover the football as well. There's Pasini.
Probably a little fortunate there, the Vulcans. It's 3 players that were offside after that kick.
Williams again. Causing problems, Williams, as Marcus Fraser gets a job and finally just a little bit of relief.
Yeah, Williams just asking him the question there, but I think he just lost focus just a tad. There was a few of the Whalers sort of tied up. Just needed to hold on to that ball and get up and play it, even despite it being a slow play, the ball.
Here's Williams stepping to the left. Whoa. Took a bit of a shot there, really. Wanted some relief from the referee. It wasn't forthcoming. That's Weiber even driven back to some solid D put on again by Firemoney, and he's lost the football. Well, as you can see, the intensity here for Auckland, even though they're well and truly on top, they're really enjoying their work and the camaraderie and the whanaungatanga that's involved in footy. The last game of the year, I suspect, for most of these guys. And they want one to take home to remember. It's been a real solid showing here for Benson's boys. Gee, they've been good today. They just really haven't given the visitors a chance. Tries the 4th minute to Tavita, and it's just become a monotonous regularity as we see Tuitama once again, and he makes it all the way. And the referee says no. I thought he might have just edged himself across the line.
Yeah, he dragged 3 defenders with him. All he had to do was fall over and hold onto the ball, but the ball came loose. Utama, been around a long time. A lot of experience in the back row. Always strong, physical body. Yeah.
We mentioned this earlier too, lads. You know, Jack Fevers has had a good game and maintained that through, so that was a great call. It looked like a try for money from where I'm sitting, but he saw that early and made a decisive call and the right call.
It's just been really great having you in the chair today too, Montu. I just respect your skin in the game as a player, but also as an administrator. International experience. Plus, you're much funnier than Wairangi too, and so it's been a pleasure to have you in the team.
It's great to have
Thanks,
have
Dale.
a part-time model also in the commentary seats.
Thanks, Dale. I was going to mention that that's probably the only thing I've got on Wise, so I'll take that.
Good on you. It is by me. We're sort of mates. I was mowing the lawns the other day, and Mutu gives us a toot on the way through. I thought to myself, it was only a couple of days ago, to be honest, before this rain came in. So good to have you as a neighbour there, Mr. Tony. What's your young fella doing?
My young fella is going to the National Youth Tournament with the Auckland Vulcans next week, and I've got a daughter that's running around for the Auckland Vulcans as well, so she's making her way down to Taupo. So the Tony household is quite stretched at the moment, but it's good fun. They love rugby league, and you know, they enjoy sport, so I can't complain too much.
Your lad was in the NZRL team, wasn't he, Mochi?
Yeah, a couple of old boys, including myself, Leeson, Amal, and George Carmon, who all played NRL, and George playing Super League, wanted to help our school, so we were quite lucky that our boys were the national second schools champion, playing Rotorua Boys High in the final. So we're still celebrating that win, and it's a good way to see some of our year 13s, or the Form 7s as we used to call it, see them off into the next part of their journey in life.
Yeah, I was really pleased to see your son there, to be honest, Motu, because rugby league follows these hereditary lines very much as we look almost to bounce good there. I wouldn't say I'm sportsman-like, but certainly looking up for some supporters. Pili Tafaki, what's your young fella's name so our viewers can keep an eye out for him should things go positively for him, Motu?
Yeah, his name is Malachi Tony, so he's quite tall, so I'm not too sure where he gets that from, but no, he goes okay, and you know, I guess sending out, I'll see them all next week, and I'll see the girls tomorrow, but sending all the best wishes to those travelling to Taupo, you know, for the National Girls Youth Tournament, but also to those that will be travelling to Rotorua for the National Youth Boys Tournament next week.
I don't want to put pressure on young guys and they follow in the footsteps of famous fathers because they're their own men. But just if you see Malachi on the rise, well, Malachi Tony, you'll know that that's Mochi's young guy. And yeah, I enjoyed seeing De La Salle A in the tournament and Rotorua and B with such an emphatic victory against the Rotorua Boys High School team in the final. Speaking of final, we're into the final minutes here, 48 points to 10. Look, take nothing away from the Vulcans, and the attitude on display here today from the Otago Whalers is creditable, and we must salute the fact that they made it through with their victories over the other South Island teams to get here to the final. Just got outgunned, really, and this Auckland team, they didn't have to travel, they're at home. And they're strong, coming out of a pretty strong club competition. So we recognise that it was a significant challenge for Otago. They've got up before, as was evident last time, that they knocked over Canterbury. Some might say unexpectedly, but I'm sure that they wouldn't. And they came up here giving themselves a chance. But today they've just, as I say, been outgunned as we see them still trying to the death to pick up what they can, even though they look up at a scoreboard that doesn't reflect kindly on their efforts. Williams plays the ball.
And I think that's one of the positives from today's game, Dale, is that you get the Otago players, you know, an opportunity to see what it's like if, you know, what they need to do to get to the next level, you know, in their game. And they've tried hard, they've just been outgunned, like you mentioned, but at least they know what the standard is if they want to, you know, progress to higher honours in terms of challenging some of the higher, you know, sort of rated teams in our national competitions.
Another carry here for Trent Shonkel. We've just got a minute or two left here, and we'll be staying with the action as Wairangi, I think, is shuffling down to interview the captains. Is it Wai or Motu? Motu will fix that up for us, Wairangi. Don't you get yourself wet here, Wai?
Cheers, mate. Thanks. Yeah, appreciate it.
You stay right where you are there, Mr. Korpu. So, Mackenzie Hoare and McEntee Walters really just didn't get too many chances, but down the right side, and Arona, he's been a standout today, Tevin. tackling game's been good, his kicking game and his combo with Dylan Tavita has been exceptional. Singing the praises of some of these guys as we wind down the clock. There's Tuitama. He's been awesome today. Matty?
Yeah, those two halves in particular have directed this Vulcan side around really well.
There's Muffy. We know we live to play another day as we hear the hooter in the background. Well, it wasn't to be as the Otago Whalers came north here for this clash in the Auckland Men's Championship final. It was the Auckland Vulcans Day. They were classy, they were on song, and they were crisp in their delivery and aggressive in their defence. Too good today for the Otago Whalers. And at the end of the Men's Championship for the NZRL, it's the Auckland Vulcans who win this one 48-10. Well, hats off to them. Yeah, just able to stay with us for a moment, Wairangi, and looking through some of the players' emerging talent, those who held their ground and whatnot. Obviously, the halves were really good today. And I thought the second row was likewise, but you know, Chris Seal also starred, and out wide, I guess Mike Williams was the maybe the pick of the bunch even for the Auckland Vulcans. Your thoughts?
Yeah, you mentioned Conrad Harrell a couple of times throughout this call, Dale, and he had that Conrad Harrell feel to him. Mike Williams, every time he carried the ball, he was aggressive and strong and looked for a quick play of the ball. But in particular for me, there was both halves, and Dylan Tavita and Tevin Arono, who directed this team around the park, who did a fantastic job. Some good kicking games.
Well, let's have a look at some of Mike Williams' runs. I mean, he stood out, didn't he? Just his aggressive style of running. This is some of his defensive work and ragdolling up in Edu there.
Yeah, he had a couple of errors, but they were on the back of trying his heart out to try and get quick play of the balls, and I suppose it wasn't the weather for that, but he had some fantastic carries, scored a try. He was definitely a standout for me today. A couple of good offloads as well. This is the try that he scored. Came off the back of a shift and an offload from Tuitama.
And it's the inspiration you provide to your teammates with that aggressive style of running that really stamped them out. So they're very satisfied with their work, and they're very deserving. For the Otago Whalers, to hats off to the non-stop effort that came in from Mackenzie Hoare and also Hagan Free, the vice-captain. Ricky Joel Allen, when he came on, you know, he too tried his best. And the big guys, Muffy and Mataafa, well, they tried hard, but they just came up against an Auckland team that seemed to have a head of steam up, and they were no way were they going to let Otago get away with the championship here today. But they'll take home the knowledge that it's been a long time between drinks. 1956, the last time these two provinces played, and of course that's before the introduction of the zonal structure now for the NZRL. Well, Motu Tony is with Tevin Arono, who had a wonderful game. Let's cross now to Motu.
So I'm standing here with Tevin. Tevin, how did you approach this game coming into this match against the Whalers?
We knew that they were going to be a good side. We watched some tape of them, of their last game, their final down there, and as you saw, they were a good side. And but I was stoked with how our boys turned up and ended up playing just like what we wanted to. So yeah, I was stoked with that.
Were there any team focuses coming into this game on how you attack the Whalers on?
Yeah, well, we just knew we needed to play our game. We played in the tournament down in Rotorua, and it was, you know what it's like in those tournament plays, it's just throwing the footy around and that. So we knew we needed to get back into a good 80-minute performance and get into an arm wrestle with them. And I thought the boys done that well. And yeah.
On a personal note, you're kicking goals, you're scoring tries, making line breaks. What do you put that down to?
Probably just the boys in our team, the boys I got around me. It's been a blessing being a part of this group, and I was very proud and privileged to captain them. So it was just a great campaign with the boys, and we'll enjoy it tonight.
You've come from Christchurch and you played in a similar weather. So any special messages you want to send to the people of Christchurch or to your team?
Just make sure you still play to your strengths. You know what I mean? Like with us, we still shift the ball and we still back ourselves. But yeah, it'll be a good game coming on after us, so I can't wait to see how the boys do.
Well done and enjoy the win tonight.
Appreciate it, brother. Cheers, Mark.
Unlucky, mate, but your boys tried hard today, as we can tell, and you guys never gave in. So what was the focus for you guys coming into a game against a Vulcan side that is quite formidable?
Oh, our focus was just getting a big start, really. We knew that they were going to be stiff opposition, and our only real chance was to get out the gates and just really put it to them. But unfortunately, that sort of fell a wee bit flat, and then we found ourselves just chasing the game for the rest of it.
What was it like out there? You guys held the ball well, you were tackling hard. Was that something that you guys had been planning to do all week?
Yeah, definitely bringing that intensity, tackling hard, running hard. We're a wee bit disorganised out there today. Sort of when things didn't go our way, we could have sort of calmed down, refocused, but the game got away on us a bit, and we just ended up keeping on chasing it. So,
although you didn't get the result today, you know, what does this mean to the Whalers, to the team, to the rugby league community to come up to Auckland and play against the Vulcans?
Yeah, it still means plenty for us. We've sort of been up here in and amongst the mix at the top of the championship for a couple of years. We really wanted this year to be the year that we finally got it done, but you know, put it all out there and did what we could, and unfortunately fell short again.
What are the lessons that you'll be taking back home, you know, after you played the Vulcans and you know what, you know, it takes to get to the next level?
Oh, I think the big lessons are for the younger boys in the group now. They've sort of had a bit of footy under them now, so next year they'll be better for it. The boys, if we can put another strong campaign next year and some of these young fellas get another year of league under their belt, I think we'll be another force to be reckoned with next year.
Thank you for your time, thank you for your efforts, and safe travels home.
Sweet. Cheers for that.
Thanks very much. Well, the presentation is coming up in a moment. We started the second half. It was 22-6. That's what occurred a minute into the second half. And sadly for the visitors, that was the first of 4 tries that would come. Weiber provided them with some sense of purpose there, as the boy from Lawrence was in to pick up an easy try. But then again, they just kept coming the Vulcans' way.
Yeah, Waterson was one who made that little error off the back of the Otago Whalers try. We'll cross over in the corner for the second half, and this little error from the Otago Whalers meant that Mike Williams would pick this ball up, and a little offload here to Tuitama. Tuitama would step back on the inside and find a barnstorming Tavita up the middle for their third.
And it was Williams who quite deservedly got the try at the back end also of that try there. Scored, but Williams picked one up in the 69th minute. He was one of the standouts here today. And a big scoreline, 48-10, well deserving of the title. The Vulcans to the Whalers. Well, a quick presentation in the rain. Let's go down to ground level and our presentation here of the trophy.
A tēnei te nini, tēnei te nāna, tēnei te pautau rori hurana te whare au nuku. Ka herea ki reira, ko rangi nui e tūnei, ko papatua nuku e takotone. Tūturu whiti whakamaua kia tīna, haumi e hui e, tai ki e. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the formal presentation for the New Zealand Rugby League National Championship for the men's for 2022. At this time, I'd like to call on the New Zealand Rugby League Board of Director, Jenny Pearce, to present our most valuable player for the grand final today. Jenny, please come forward. Your most valuable player for the men's championship for 2022. Round of applause, please, for number 7 from the Auckland Vulcans, Tevin Arona. Have a talk in the next one. Oh, yes. Cool. Once again, your most valuable player for 2022, Tevin Arona. At this time, I'd like to call on the captain for the winners of the South Island Championship, and they represented them to the whole South Island for this men's championship. If we can have the captain and the chair of the South Island Otago board, Ricky Allen, to come and share a few words as the Otago Whalers, our runners-up, come forward to receive their medals. You have to hold both. You have to hold both of them. Gotcha.
Yeah, cheers to the Auckland boys for having us. It's a mean game out there. We knew you were going to be a tough outfit and that we had our work cut out for us. Proud of the way that the boys stuck in there right through to the end, and we did our best to try to get under it. But you boys took it away right from the start, so hats off, you played mean. Yeah, thanks to our coach, Dave, assistant coach, Louis, and manager Mel for everything that they do behind the scenes. And again, big ups to the boys for getting this far. Unfortunately, not quite far enough. Cheers.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, if we can have a round of applause, your runner-up for the Men's Championship 2022, Otago Whalers.
It's good to see these guys getting at least a taonga to take back to that proud province of Otago. And, you know, they know what they need to do if they end up against one of these Auckland teams next time around. But they need not hang their heads at all because they...
And now we turn our attention to the winners of the Men's Championship. But before we do that, I would like to call on their captain, Tevan Omna, to share a few words as the Auckland Vulcan players come forward to receive their medals for winning the Men's Championship.
Are the boys coming up? Boys, come around. First of all, thank you for the game, Otago. You boys were awesome today. You guys had a great campaign. I watched a lot of your games, and you boys done well and deservedly so. So safe trip back home, and all the best next year. New Zealand Rugby League, thank you very much for setting this all up. We appreciate it. It was well done. Also to our coaching staff and our whole staff as a whole. From us boys, we appreciate you guys heaps and everything you guys done for us. And lastly, to our boys, man, it was a blessing to be a part of this team, man. And we'll celebrate it tonight, eh, boys? So yeah, thank you very much.
So Tevan Arona, the acknowledging his teammates. It's a
They
short,
went undefeated
compressed
2 weekends
campaign.
ago at the North Island Championship, and today they defend that title. Well, today they are successful in winning the New Zealand Rugby League National Championship for the men's for 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for the Auckland Vulcans.
And congratulations to them too, thoroughly deserving of the victory. Hope you enjoyed the action here today.